Greetings everyone. I, Vharabi Sonowal, on behalf of my project partner, Kriti Kamal, will be presenting a final year project that is radio frequency based metal detecting robot and which is done under the guidance of Professor Kandarpa Kumar Sharma sir and our expert Mrs. Susmita Ganguli ma'am. Special thanks to sir and ma'am for their guidance throughout our project. So without wasting any further time, let's just zoom into it. These are some topics which we are going to cover in our coming slides. So starting from introduction and theoretical background. So basically our project deals with RF technology, that is radio frequency technology. It works by creating electromagnetic wave at a source and being able to pick up those electromagnetic wave at a particular destination. These electromagnetic wave can travel at the speed of light, which is about 3 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second in vacuum. It can cover frequency extended from 20 kHz to 300 GHz. There are many devices we use in our daily life which uses RF technology, for example, telephone, radio, television, and many more. Our next topic is metal detector. Metal detector is an electronic device or instrument that detects the presence of metal near it. It is very useful for finding any hidden metal or metal object burned underground. They are widely used in finding mineral present underground and for other industrial applications. It is very helpful for detecting landmine, also the detection of weapons such as knife, gun, etc. Our next slide is about theoretical background of metal detector. Metal detector basically works upon the principle of electromagnetic induction. In real metal detector, single coil detector is used. Whenever some current passes through the coil, it generates magnetic field around it. Now, if I move a coin towards the coil, a field is induced. We call it eddy current. The eddy current induces their own magnetic field which generates an opposite current in the coil which induced a signal indicating the presence of metal. Next is our microcontroller. We have used here Arduino Uno board which is based upon ATmega 328 microcontroller. It consists of 14 input-output digital pin, 6 analog pin, a USB connection for programming purpose, a power jack, an IC/SC header and a reset button. It operates with a 16 MHz crystal oscillator. It contains everything needed to support the microcontroller. It is very user-friendly, simply connected to computer with a USB cable to get started. The microcontroller on the board is programmed using the Arduino programming language and the Arduino development environment. Next is our transmitter. The transmitter section contains of RF encoder, RF transmitter and a push button. RF encoder IC used here is HD12E. It is 18-pin IC. HD12E encoder IC is a 212 series encoder IC used for remote control purpose. By using the paired HD12E encoder and HD12D decoder, we can easily transmit and receive. It converts 12-pin parallel data into series output which can be transmitted through RF transmitter. These 12-bit parallel data is divided into 8 address pin and 4 data pin. By using these address pin, we can provide 8-bit security code for data transmission. Next is our receiver. Receiver section contains of Arduino Uno board, RF decoder, RF receiver, metal detector, buzzer, L293D IC and a robot. The data received is applied to RF decoder. The RF decoder used here is HD12D. HD12D decoder IC is 212 series decoder IC used for remote control application. By using paired HD12E encoder and HD12D decoder, we can transmit 12 bit of parallel data serially. HD12D simply converts serial data to its input to 12-bit parallel datas. Next is motivation. What motivated us to do this project? Firstly, it is very dangerous task to find and remove all those landmines manually. It may cause stress to life, which may sometimes cause accident. In such situation, robot aid in detection of landmine. Secondly, it makes things easier by finding valuable metal such as gold, silver, copper in their natural form. And lastly, it helps us to search for discarded or lost item. Next is our block diagram. Block diagram for transmitter part, where it contains control button, encoder, RF transmitter and battery. Where we set our commands in control button, and then control button send those commands to encoder. Encoder encodes our set of commands and then send it to RF transmitter. Next is our block diagram for receiver end, where a transmitted signal is received from RF receiver. RF receiver send those signals to RF decoder. RF decoder decodes all the set of commands and then send it to motor driver, and then motor driver works according to the commands. On the other hand, if the coil of the metal detector finds any metal present near it, it will active buzzer and LED simultaneously. Next is our list of components we have used in our project. First, some set of resistor, capacitor, coil, diode, buzzer, Arduino Uno board, RF module, HT12E, HT12D, motor, L293D and LED. Next is about flowchart. At very first, the robot will check for a body. It will check whether the body present near it is metal or not. If it is not metal, then it will move forward and check for the other body. And if it finds any metal body present near it, then buzzer and LED will be on simultaneously. Next is our calculation part. So from our above slide, you got some idea about inductance. Now to find out the inductance value for our coil, we have our formula L equals to mu naught into N into A divided by L. Mu naught here represents absolute permeability, and here is 13, which is number of turn. A here is inner core area in meter square, which is 0.017 meter square, and L length of wire in meter. In our case, it is 5.65 meter. And if we put all the values in our above equation, we get inductance value equals to 5.20 into 10 to the power minus 8 Henry. Next is our circuit diagram. This one is circuit diagram for metal detector. We have used here an Arduino Uno board for controlling whole metal detector project. A LED and buzzer are used here for metal detector indicator. A coil and capacitor are used here for detecting of metal. A signal diode is used here for reducing the voltage, and lastly, the resistor used here is for limiting the current to Arduino pins. This circuit is of transmitter, where if we want to send some set of command to RF receiver, then we will make those commands through pin number 10, 11, 12 and 13 of HT12E. HT12E will encode all those signals, and then it will send it to RF transmitter through pin number 17. RF transmitter will transmit all those signals through its antenna. Our next circuit diagram is of receiver. Those signals which was transmitted by RF transmitter is now received from RF receiver by its antenna. Now RF receiver will send those set of information or signal to HT12DE through its pin number 14. Now if we want to give command to our robot to move forward, then all the input pin of L293D will be active high, which also mean that pin number 10, 11, 12 and 13 of HT12D will be active high. Now if I give command to my robot to make a sharp left turn, then pin number 2 and 7 will be active high, and 15 and 10 pin number of L293D will be active low, which means that pin number 12 and 13 of HT12D will be active high, and pin number 10 and 11 of HT12 will be active low. Coming to our prototype, this model is of metal detector. The one in the left hand side is transmitter and the other one is receiver. So we have two conditions in our metal detector. One in presence of metal detector and the other one in absence of metal detector. In presence of metal detector, you can see that LED is glowing, which means that it is obvious that there is metal present near the coil. But in absence of metal, you can see that LED is not glowing, which means that there is no metal present near the coil. Coming to working methodology, for a better visualization, we have took four cases. In our first case, you can see that LED is not glowing nor the buzzer is making audible sound, which means that that was a non-metal. In our second case, I took one metal ball. You can see that LED is glowing and buzzer is also making audible sound. In our third case, you can see that I took one coffee mug and you can see that LED and buzzer is not on, which means it is not a metal. LED and buzzer is on only when I'm giving command to the robot. In our fourth case, we took one metal steel body where you can see that LED is glowing, also buzzer is making audible sound. And this one is the Gantt chart with task name, month and year, and we have completed our work successfully as we have aimed for. Next is our references, and these are some sources from where we took some idea of our project. And lastly, conclusion part. The proposed project shall make a significant contribution for military purpose. This metal detector project will make easy to find any lost metal body or to find any precious metal resources like gold. At the end, we would like to conclude that the project we have aimed for is successfully completed. That's it. Thank you everyone.